what's going to happen here. We're trying this, but yo, what's going on? It is 6 p.m. here in Boston, Massachusetts. We're here on Newbury Street, and you guys are watching the #1 running live stream to listen to while you're in Boston for Marathon Weekend. All right, guys. Everyone that's listening at home on the podcast, on the audio-only version, this is one you probably want to watch on YouTube because I have some great guests here today. But if you are listening to this in the car or on the run, hopefully you're having a really good commute or a good run today. And for everyone who's watching this on YouTube live, not live, but on YouTube later, welcome to you guys as well. I wish you guys were here because we got a really great audience here today in this live studio at the ASICS House. And we also have some great guests. Let me bring them on real quick. Let me get to the other camera. We'll switch it up. We've got two of the fastest marathoners in America. We've got two ASICS athletes, Ben True and Nico Montanez. Let's give them a warm welcome, everybody. All right. And it looks like we got a lot of people in the chat here. I see Runner Will that says, hello, everyone. Loving the IG stuff like you're really everywhere. LOL. And Matthias says, let's see how this goes with the fingers crossed. Well, that's a #1. So you know what? I think we're doing all right. Okay. Let's start off. And if you any of you guys in the chat that are watching this live have any questions for Nico or Ben, feel free to put them in there. I'll keep an eye on what's going on in the chat. And if anyone in the live audience has questions for Nico or Ben too, let me know. And we'll see if we get some interaction from the live video audience as well. Because what's the point of having you guys all live and in person if you guys can't participate like in the chat? Anyway, all right, sound good, guys?
Yeah.
All right, Ben, let's start with you.
Right.
You have probably one of the shortest commutes to get here, coming down from New Hampshire. Does Boston feel like it's going to be a hometown race for you?
Yeah. So I grew up in Maine, and Massachusetts and Maine are the two states that have Patriots Day, Marathon Monday, as a state holiday. So I grew up always having the day off of school. Always grew up watching the marathon. Basically, where I grew up, you're not a runner until you run the Boston Marathon. So I'm hoping to become a runner on Monday. And yeah, so I'm excited. There'll be a lot of friendly faces that I'll see along the course. It'll be great.
All right. Nico, you've probably come some of the farthest distance, at least from the United States, to get here. How was your travel getting here from Mammoth Lakes?
Not too bad. I mean, I've gotten used to traveling 6 hours just to catch a flight now, so that's like a custom to me. Anyone else would be like, that's insane. But for me, it's just pretty normal. But yeah, just pretty quick, easy flight, direct flight, nothing crazy. So
Okay, good. And last year around this time, because this is your second time running Boston, right?
yes.
Last year around this time, you were, I think, right about now getting dental surgery.
Yeah, a lot of people ask me that story.
Yeah, okay.
I had an emergency root canal 2 nights before the race. Wasn't fun, but I got it taken care of, and no dental surgery today. So.
Okay, good. So mouth is feeling good, and it's looking fresh too. I feel like you got the race mustache going on.
I don't know why I did this, but I did. I just kind of kept it. So.
Awesome. You know, well, I've been seeing a lot of other runners when they come to Boston rocking the mustache that are doing it. I feel like a lot of the BYU guys, it seems to be like a thing that a lot of you guys do. So it didn't surprise me when I heard it. And then now that I've seen it in person, I got to tell you, it looks great.
Oh, man, thank you. I'm blushing.
All right, Ben, let's go to you. When we had a question here in the chat, where did it go? Someone wanted to know, can you tell me? All right, Daniel Burton says, how many miles did Ben run a week for this build-up? So can you give us a sense of what your build was like this year?
Great question. So I don't really count miles, and I don't really follow a weekly plan. So normally my training is 2 hours of running a day. So it's usually an 80-40 double or a 90-30 double or just a 2 hour straight. That usually works out to mid 120s if you were to count 7 days. But I don't really count miles.
Okay, and in that week, like how many quality sessions are you getting in there versus like a lot of easy running?
Yeah, so the marathon's a little bit different than some of the other races that you do. And so the focus is on a long run, in the long run having some intensity in it. And so that's usually the 7-day or 10-day focus. And then everything else is kind of supplementary. So usually would do probably 2 workouts a week if you were to average it out. And yeah, that's typically it.
Okay.
I'm much more on the time scale and effort scale than miles. Your body doesn't know what a mile is. Your body doesn't know what pace is. The only thing your body knows is duration and effort. So if you kind of start thinking that way, it's you kind of start thinking of how like your body actually interprets things.
Awesome. Now, Nico, what about you? How has your training been, especially with some difficult training conditions where you are up in the mountains?
Yeah, so we've had a lot of snow, but thankfully, thanks to my coach Andrew and the team, we are able to get down to Bishop, as you know, Kafuzi, and train down there at lower elevation. So we really we take advantage of the live high, train low philosophy, which is really great for us. But yeah, despite the snow, I mean, we're able to escape it. So we're pretty lucky. Coach has a Subaru, which no comment on that.
Well, it is wrapped really nicely in like all the ASICS logos and the truck. So it's a good looking car.
Yeah, I feel pretty lucky in it. So
okay. All right, let's get something else here from the chat. We got Shannon, who's here live too. Says, "What's up, Co-Fancy? Good to see you, Shannon." We got Remy in here. We got I see a lot of the Kobuzi t-shirts and the not only t-shirts. We got Lance in the back. It's awesome. Miguel's here as well. Good to see everybody here. And what matters to Matt says in the chat. So excited for this. Awesome. I'm excited for it too. On Monday, Ben, this is your first time running Boston. What is success going to look for you come Monday? Are you looking at like a time, a place? Like what's going to like drive your definition of having a successful marathon?
For me, success would be racing 26.2 miles. So that means that, you know, I don't get through Heartbreak Hill and then start shuffling it in because I blew up. And it means that I'm there and I'm racing for the entire race. And if I can do that, then I'll probably have a good day. It means that I was able to get the most out of myself and that I ran to my fitness. So the goal is always to race the whole way. I think a course like Boston, time doesn't really matter. And it's one of those few of the races where marathons that it's really course dependent, not time dependent. And you can't really have any control of what other people run. Kipchoge, who's the #1 marathoner in the world, is in it. I can't control how he's going to run. So if I have the best day of my life and he has the best day of his life, most likely he'll beat me. And I have to be okay with that because I ran the best race that I could on the day. And so that's the focus.
Awesome. Nico, what about you? What's success look like for you on Monday?
Yeah, just the same thing as Ben. Like, I want to be able to look myself in the mirror and say I gave it my absolute best. And that for me, like, I'm never disappointed with that performance. And when I do have those types of performances, I tend to be up, mixing it up with some of the best. So yeah, for me, this sport has just taught me so much, and I want to be able to give back through the art of running. You know, running is an art. So yeah, just being able to look myself in the mirror Monday night and be like, I'm really proud of myself and pat myself on the back. So yeah, that's a big thing for me. Time and place, yeah, like Ben said, it's really hard, you know, course wise and as good as people are on this course, but yeah, I don't know. I think if it's a good day, anything below 2:09 would be awesome. But again, never know. So
awesome. Now, as I was going out for a run today, I did spot Clayton Young running by, and you ran with him for a lot in Chicago.
yes,
right?
Yeah.
If he makes a move like going up the Newton Hills, are you going with him or are you staying back? What's the plan if he makes that move first?
Well, he made a move on me in Chicago.
Yeah.
Him and Colin Midcow. They made a pretty big move, and I had to be patient. And I kind of just I had a lot of emotional control in Chicago, and I was able to reel back in. And then we were able to run together for a while. So I think if people do make some moves in the race, it's really just digging within myself again and wanting to be able to look myself in the mirror and make sure I did the things right.
So maybe you'll go along with the
Maybe
paper.
I make a good politician.
Yeah, but I will say though, I've seen from like a lot of your interviews and a lot of your racing, it looks like that's been a big thing that you've been working on, is trying to figure out who you are as the racer. And I feel like you've been making a lot of good progress. So it's been good to see you making that, and makes it easy to root for you.
Thank you. Yeah, I think you hit it on the head. Like, it's really like when that move is made, it's kind of like you start to figure out like who you are as a runner, as a person, as like a human being. And so for me, it's like going with that move is saying yes to me, saying yes to what I've been working for, saying yes to everything that everyone has built for me. And, you know, coach driving down to Bishop, 40 minutes, like for me, that's like what it's about. So I'm really just running something bigger than myself. So,
Awesome. Ben, mentally, where do you go when it gets hard? Say deeper into the race, like if we're talking about the Newton Hills, we're getting to that 20-mile mark. How do you get through some of those tougher spots?
Well, I've only run one marathon before, so still trying to work that out, right? Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. As Nico was saying, like there's always a time in a race where I always describe it as you have like an angel and a devil on your shoulder, and you have to choose which one you're going to listen to. And when the angel tells you you got to go, if you don't go, you're always kicking yourself later in the race. And so it's always remembering, like, understanding how you're feeling in the moment and knowing your body well enough to know that when moves are made or when you need to make a move, you're not guessing yourself. And you have that, the inner subconscious that's saying, all right, it's okay, let's go. And listening to that, and being like, not panicking in any situation. But yeah, it's you just got to rely on all the hard work that got you there, and ultimately this is our job, and so this is what we've trained to do. Is when it gets hard, we just keep our head down and keep our legs moving and put one foot in front of the other and see how fast we can run.
Awesome. I love that. Speaking of that, this is your job. This is what you do. Tell me a little bit about the tools of your trade. Can you go over in that 2 hours a day, basically every day for a week? What are the shoes that you're going to be reaching for off the shelf to get you through that week?
Yeah. So typically the Nimbus and the Nova Blast are my two number one go-tos, probably the Nimbus the most. For some reason, the Cumulus has become my treadmill shoe. And for living in New England throughout the entire winter, training for a marathon, I ran more treadmill miles than I ever have in my life. So I did run in those quite often. I will say, for how big Boston is for a New England event, it's the worst timing to train for it in New England. I don't know who decided to do it in early spring. But yeah. And then I'll usually use the Super Blast for some of the workouts, and then the Meta Speeds as well. But training by myself and having a young kid, I've become very unstructured with my training. And so I found myself now a lot of times doing my workouts just in the Nimbus or the Nova Blast and not ever changing shoes. Just because it's a whole lot easier just to roll out the door, and after 20 minutes, then I just start running hard. And it seems to be a lot easier where I am now to do that. And I found that those two shoes work wonderful for that.
Awesome. Nico, what about you?
Yeah, so we operate on a pretty standard 7-day schedule: Tuesday speed, Friday tempo, Sunday long run. And Tuesday speed, I typically use the Metaspeed Edge. It's my go-to, and the Skies for tempo running. And then most of the other week is rotated between the three different shoes. I do the Kayanos, the Cumulus, and then Nova Blast. So I just rotate those out. Something new I'm trying. My teammate gave me that, Anthony. Thank you. So yeah, I just rotate through them, and I actually have the Nimbus 23 still, so I'm really far behind, but I like those. And like Ben said, most of my 45-minute doubles are on treadmills. So in whatever day it was for the Cumulus or Novoplast, whatever. I just ended up running in that. So.
Okay, and then what race day? What are you going to be?
Race day will be Metaspeed Sky for sure.
Yeah, I'll be Metaspeed Sky too. I think for me personally, Metaspeed. So people don't know ASICS has 2 super shoes. We're fancy like that. The Metaspeed Edge and Metaspeed Sky. Personally, I found that I like the Metaspeed Edge for races probably 10K and under, and races longer than that, the Metaspeed Sky. So something like the marathon, I reach for the Sky.
Nice. All right, we got a question in from the chat. Jonathan Garrard wants to know. We'll go to you, Ben. How often are you refreshing the weather app?
None. I personally and that is under the belief that the worse the weather it is on Monday, the better it is for me. So I'm just gonna roll with whatever is there and go for it. I think too many people can psych themselves out by trying to refresh the weather too many times. And I'm a New Englander. I'm used to New England weather, and bring it on.
Yeah, so you're used to the weather, but also I think that you're used to like this kind of terrain where there's hills and there's a lot of rolling. I feel like
this isn't hilly from where I'm
okay.
we call these people flatland.
Awesome. So you feel like you've got some like course advantages with the way that you've been training.
I would hope so. Yeah, we'll find out. I've never run the course, so we'll see.
Did you do any course recon? Did you get out there on the hills to see them yourself?
No.
Okay. Awesome. Very cool. I haven't either, so like it'll be a new experience for the both of us on Monday. Nico, what about you? Have you gotten out there?
I have. Before I ran the year I got the root canal, I did recon, but I can tell you that the Newton hills are not that bad because when I faded in the race, I was running about 7:30 pace up the hill, so not that bad, right?
That'd be pretty nice. I think a lot of people would be like, "Oh, I would love 7:30s up there."
Not that bad.
All right, guys. Let me ask you about the Kayanos though. Like, are you a stability runner? Like, I listened to that rotation and they all make sense to me.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. My girlfriend laughed first. I saw her. I don't know what I am. I just know that I feel comfortable in like all the shoes. Like she kind of gets mad because she has to wear a certain shoe, and then I can do anything. Like
Okay.
I don't know. It's not a bragging thing. I just like the shoe. I don't know. It's comfortable.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know. I was always told I was like a stability runner in high school, but I don't actually know. Like I wore the Brooks Beast for anyone who knows. That was a heavy shoe.
Yeah.
I did not repeats of those. So yeah. Anyways, I don't know. I just wear whatever.
Do you think that's the secret to your success? Like, put all high school kids in like super heavy, chunky shoes.
Yeah, and let them figure it out.
All right, Ben. Let me ask you. After the race, if you're celebrating, you had a great race. Like, are you looking for a certain kind of food to celebrate, certain kind of beverage? Like, what does that look like for you, or that's not even something you're thinking about yet?
Yeah, no, I mean, mostly it's just taking the shower. I don't know. A lot of times, taking in that much sugar for the duration of the event, I'm not really that hungry afterwards. I'm more just zoned out and just want to shower and just want to sit down. So we'll see. Somebody's gonna have to force me something, but yeah, it's not something that I'm like dreaming about.
Yeah. So like after the race, you're dying for a shower. Your stomach's
brush
all,
the teeth.
Yeah, and your stomach's all messed up from the sugar. And if you're going to like drug testing, like how long does that take to get through all that?
Yeah, that can take a while depending on how dehydrated you are. So it's always key to making sure that, later stages of the race, if you're doing well, to make sure you drink more so that it's the process along. Yeah.
Nico, what about you? How do you celebrate after a race? Even though last year was not what I wanted, me and my family went out and got lobster. Well, I got lobster.
Nice.
I'll probably do the same thing again. So.
Awesome. Very cool. Very cool. Lobster roll, or are you just going for the whole lobster?
The whole lobster. I wanted messy.
Nice. That's awesome. All right. So when you're out here, Nico, is there anything that you try to do specifically that's Boston related that you can't get over in California or in Mammoth Lakes, or Like, man, Felix has it all, so you don't have to worry about it. How do you feel
It's
about
lobster, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
lobster.
we talked about the lobster.
But no, I don't think there's really anything that I don't know. I'm not sure that there is. Yeah. It's hard for me to think of here, but no, I don't think there is.
Okay.
Anything specific.
All right. And then on Monday, if you guys are out there in the course and it's like miserable out there, will you two guys, if you're running in the same chase pack, you guys going to work together? Like, how's that? Have you guys talked about that at all?
I don't know. Benzal kicked me twice now, and I'm pretty salty about it. I'm sure we'll work together at some point. It'll be a big pack, and it'll be a lot of good runners. So whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a headwind, so I'll just run behind.
He can tuck it.
No, I'm not.
I feel like though you had a really good result at New York City half. It was a windy day, Ben. So like,
And
I
I
feel
just
like
ran behind people.
awesome. And so like those colder conditions, you spend a lot of time on the treadmill. Like, do you think if it ends up being a little bit warmer, is that going to affect you? How do you do with warmer running races? I know I melt in class, but like.
Yeah, I mean that's the one downside from where my training. If it's like 65 degrees, I'll just stop. So I'm not used to the heat at all right now. So the last 2 days where it's been warm out, I've just been struggling to be outside.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm really hoping it's cold like they say it is, and windy and rainy like they say it is.
Yeah. Like I did a half marathon in Miami, and like everyone in Miami was like, "Oh, it's so cold today." I was like, "This is a hot race. I think I'm having heat stroke." So I know exactly where you're coming from. Nico, what about you? Are you where do you think you race best? When it's a little bit warmer, a little bit cooler, or does it depend?
Yeah, so like I'm not too sure because I was born in the heat in Arizona, so I prefer that. But I've also had good races in some pretty crappy conditions. So I feel like I like to say I'm around it, but I guess we'll see on Monday. So
all right, and we got another one here. A question from Stevie76. He says, "Are there any unwritten rules on running in a lead pack?" What would you say? Are there any unwritten rules?
I mean, be nice to the other people. So track runners who transition over the road, when you run on the track, nobody plays nice, especially nobody likes each other when they're racing. And so there's a lot of jostling. Any track race high level track race that I race, I'll end and my shins will be all bloody because of the spikes. And people are just crammed into each other. On a road race, we have room. And so it's really frowned upon if somebody runs like a track pack on the road. People want a little bit extra room to spread out a little bit. I feel like that's the main one.
Yeah, being nice and then dropping your bottle, like throwing your bottles off to the side, not just dropping them in the road, because that could be troublesome too. I had that last year and I was able to dodge and leave a little bit, but yeah, pretty much it.
Does it ever get chatty in any of the packs?
Sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Are you chatty on the long run, Nico?
Absolutely not. Well, I don't know. Maybe. Depends.
And Ben, are there any pet peeves that you have of other people racing that like kind of annoy you? They don't necessarily have to be like unwritten rules, but like anything that gets on your nerves particularly?
When people surge and I don't want them to. That's kind of annoying. It was kind of annoying my last marathon. Another marathoner, Jared Ward, dropped his bottle like every single aid station. So he'd always ask people in the pack to give him fluid, which I happily obliged, like, and gave him. But you do you, and you figure out your own stuff.
Awesome. That's so funny. All right, guys. I think that's going to be it for the live stream today, guys. We got a question from the audience. Ren,
Yeah.
What do you got?
So real quick, you mentioned that, this is your job and everyone has something about their job that sucks, that someone not in the job isn't aware of. Is there something that you're free to speak about that sucks about your job that we've
Oh, so much.
let me repeat that for everyone listening at home. So like Remy want to know, is there anything about your job that he doesn't like, that you guys don't like, that we might as regular humans not understand? Ben, what do you got?
So it's been better since I've become a marathoner. But in the track world, my track career was 13, 14 years long. There wasn't a single day that I woke up that I could get out of bed and walk to the bathroom because I was in so much pain waking up every day. And that's just because of how much speed work I was having to do and just how my body handled all that. I'd usually warm up throughout the day and be fine, but there wasn't a single morning that I woke up and I could walk. As a marathoner, it's been a lot better, and so I'm very happy about that. But yeah, that's one of the really hard things about a track guy.
I'm gonna go. What about you? What do we as normal humans not understand about how hard it is to do what you do, other than running that as fast as you guys do?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, sometimes I think about like I don't always like want to get up and train. Like I do love it, but there are days where I'm like I like the result better than I like the result of running better than I like the actual running part. So for me, I've had to work through that, and that can be difficult because it's like as much as I love my job, like I don't always want to get up and do it. And it's a weird thing to say as a professional runner, but I think there's a lot of obligations and pressures that you have to show up for, and sometimes you just want to hide in the mountains and Mammoth Lakes and just train, and hide from everyone. So I think that is a big part of it. Is like the training really is difficult. So, and as you heard from Ben,
Yeah. Or how do you get through that though on those tough days?
Those tough days, for me, it's like just still on this journey of like discovering like this is bigger than me. And so for me, it's like I'm not just running for myself. I'm running for a lot of different people and like people who have put me here on this, platform.
Awesome. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Thanks everyone for coming to the live stream live today. I had a really fun time talking with all of you guys. And thanks to Ben and Nico for sharing some of their time on this busy weekend with us.